So that part there was your gas locker, just saying that you can literally fill it up at any sort of petrol station that has LPG written on the sign. And you've got your freshwater inlet, so where you fill up your fresh water. Again, that's been lubricated just like any of the other bits and pieces that are rubber around the van. So we've also got in the cab, obviously you've got your reversing camera over here, which you've probably seen already, but that obviously works exactly how it should and is actually really good, nice quality camera. You've also got a Panasonic single DIN head unit just there, so that works exactly how it should. Your hazard lights are just there in the middle, fog light, and you've got your, well, this button won't work here because that's your the sort of factory fitted heated rear window, so obviously that's not here anymore, so that won't work. Reverse is over and up to the top right, lifting up on this little bit at the back to get there. You've got electric adjusting mirrors just here, so you literally just choose which mirror you want to move and then just move this around like a joystick basically, and just move it where you want to move it to. Electric windows, and yeah, so I think that's about it for in the cab. I'm just going to shut your bonnet down a second. So it's quite windy out today. So we'll get on the inside now. Right, so on your habitation sheet, I know you wouldn't have seen this just yet, but I have written down, I just want to show you straight away, I have written down that we're going to give you one of these. So it's just literally just an igniter for bits and pieces like this. The burners up here all light up perfectly well, and the oven does as well. But for whatever reason on the habitation check, I could not for the life of me get the grill to light up with the ignition. And it's not us trying to sort of pass the buck on it, it's just that I know full well that these are problematic anyway, so I've got no doubt I could have sat there for hours trying to fix it, and I know that it would probably just go wrong again soon anyway. So what we've done, we've given you this instead. So like I said to you, the rest of them will work perfectly well, but when you try and light the grill up, if you are going to use that, just pop this little lighter down here and basically just light it up like that. It's just, to be honest, it's a little bit easier anyway, because like I said, sometimes they do, you know, the only issue with it really is that the actual, I think the spark cable is too short, so we'd have to take this entire thing to pieces and replace that. So it's just a real pain in the butt. So we've just given you that instead because it's just as easy. In fact, a lot of these don't even have an ignition on them, so you'd have to light all of these up and the oven, you know. But there you go, that's what that's for. Just thought I'd point that out first. Right, so up here you've got your Benimar branded control unit. So it's not really just like your average control unit, it's literally got everything you can imagine inside it. You've got a couple of bits I want to point out first, which are a little bit sort of different to any sort of usual thing that I've seen. You've got two trip switches just here. So the main one on the right hand side is the one that would actually trip if you plugged something dodgy into one of your 3-pin plugs. So if we just have a look, so a plug like this one, like a household one, if you plugged something that was going to trip any other plug socket, if it was like, you know, had something faulty on it, if you plugged it in there, this one here would trip, so just keep your eye on that. The other one is just an MCB, so that would be for maybe the fridge or, I don't know, charger or something like that. The one to the left of that, you see there it says 12 volt above it, below it, sorry. And so basically that's your 12 volt on and off switch. So if you wanted to come in here and turn all your lights on and you know, use your pump and things like that, this one here needs to be in the upright position. You've then got these little buttons down here. These are all just like level indicators. They don't turn anything on or anything like that. So if I press this first one, you see there it's got a caravan and a battery. So that tells you how much power is in the battery. So C91. So that's basically means 91% full. The one below that, it's got a van. So that says 94. So that's your engine battery, 94% full. Next one, fresh water, 5% full. So that's basically empty. Wastewater, completely empty. How much power is coming in from your solar panel, and then the temperature inside the van. All right, so they're just all literally level indicators. You've also got fuses all the way along here. If any of these fuses break, you get this little red light to the right of it will come on to prove to you that there's an issue with it. So for example, if you took one of these out, you get a little red light next to it to show you that it's not in, or to show you that the circuit's broken. This big button just down here, if you push it up, it opens up your wastewater drain. If you push it down, it closes that off basically. So that's your wastewater drain. And the one to the right of it turns on your water pump. All right. So obviously I'm not going to have the water pump on because like I've just shown you, there's no water in the fresh tank. So it won't ever get to pressure. But if you filled the water tank up with fresh water at that point that I showed you over there, turn your pump on, and then just basically the first thing you want to do before you start trying to use your boiler and things like that is switch your pump on and pull the tap on the left hand side. So basically what you're doing by doing that is lifting the tap up and filling the boiler up. If the boiler is already full, you'll just get water coming out straight away at a decent pressure and the pump will turn itself off. If the boiler is empty, obviously, like I said to you outside, you've got the red button out there, which needs to be in the upright position. So that's what I was just going to quickly explain. The red button down there, it's your boiler drain, but what it actually is, it's like a temperature controlled dropout valve. So if it gets kind of like 2 degrees, 3 degrees, that sort of temperature, you'll tend to find that will just drop all the water out. It'll go down and then all the water from the boiler will just drain out. So it's really important, if you want to come in here and start using your boiler and things like that, just open that cupboard up there and make sure it's in its upright position. And then you can go ahead and start trying to fill the boiler up by pulling the hot side of the tap. As soon as the water comes through nice and clearly on the hot side, and you can sort of like prove to yourself that the boiler's full, you can turn that off. Every once in a while, you'll find that the pump might run on a little bit when it's sort of, even when you've turned the tap off, you can just switch it off at the button there. You know, it's not always going to be at its maximum pressure. You know, you might not have quite enough water in the system. So if the pump runs on, just make sure that you switch it off at the button there. But, you know, if the boiler is full and you've got plenty of water in the tank and you've already, you know, pulled the water through, like I said, you shouldn't run into that problem. The pump should just turn itself off. Right, so the next thing is your fridge. You have also got, you've probably seen, you have also got this microwave up here. That's just reminding me of something else. So up here, you've got this kind of like 1, 0 and 2. So basically, if I turn this off into the middle, it doesn't change anything 12 volt wise. So all of your lights and things like that will still work. But what you need to do, if you have a hookup plugged into the van, this needs to be towards the 1. All right, because that's basically an isolator for your 240 volts. If you plug your hookup into the van and that's on a 0 position, your battery charger won't work, none of your 3-point plug sockets will work, and all that sort of stuff. So make sure you leave that on 1. This switch just here does your sort of electric skylight. So I'll just show you that. So there you go, that's that working. Got a switch just next door to that, which I'm not sure. I think it might do the awning light outside. Obviously, I've shown you your step switch, and you've got this light just here, which comes on with this button. The next two are really important. Sorry, I know I started talking about these two, but I've just remembered about the rest of the stuff up here. So you've got your electric boiler switch just here. So as long as your power's plugged in, turn that on like that. So that's the heat your water up. And you've also got your Trumatic C. So this is your boiler working on gas, which is what you should really use it on most of the time. If you don't use it on gas, then they do tend to kind of go a little bit wrong. They get sort of clogged up, and you basically turning it on gas kind of clears the entire system out and gives it a good chance to burn off any stuff that's there that's not wanted. But basically, if I just try and hold the camera still, sorry. You've got up, which is hot water, either at 40 degrees or 60 degrees. So literally, as long as your boiler is full of water, you can do that. So literally go up for 40 or up again for 60. So that's no heating, that's just hot water. If you go down 1, you've got heating only. If you go down 2, you've got heating and hot water together. All right, so some people say that up is your summer setting because there's no heating but there is hot water. and the down setting is your winter setting, because you've got heating and hot water. So that's how your boiler works. The boiler is pretty much the most expensive part in this van, and the most sort of the thing you want to look after the best, if that makes sense. So just bear that in mind. It's really, really important to make sure that you pour the water through and fill it up before you start trying to use it. Right, your fridge is an AES fridge, AES, automatic energy selector. So what that means is, you can probably work it out, but basically what it means is all you have to do to actually make it work is press this button, and it automatically chooses the most efficient energy to use to cool it down. So if you had a hookup cable plugged into the van, it would normally choose hookup after it tries to light up with gas. All right, so basically it goes through a little cycle. If you turn it on, the first thing it will do is try and light up the gas. And at the moment, I've got the gas lit up. I've got the gas on, sorry. So it tried to light up on gas. It worked. So that's it. That's how it will work. All right, if that makes sense. If the gas wasn't on, or the gas was empty, it would try and light up on gas. It would fail because obviously there's no gas in it. And then it would choose hookup if your hookup's plugged in. If your hookup's not plugged in, it will try to hook up and then it won't work, and then it will choose 12 volt because your engine's running. And then if you've not got any gas on, there's no hookup cable in, and the engine's not running, it won't work, because that's the only 3 ways that it does work. All right, so it's as simple as that. If you turn the gas off, it'll try and use the mains. If you don't have the mains in, if you want to drive it, you start the engine, it will change over to 12 volt. All right, so you literally have to turn it on and off here, and the only other thing you've got is a temperature setting, so you can literally just turn it up or down. Okay, so I'll switch that off now, and you can see already, if this was flashing red, it would tell you that it hasn't lit up on gas, but that showing you that it's green there is just proving to you that it's definitely lit up on gas and it's working exactly the way it should. So I'll switch that off. In the wardrobe, oh, that's a good catch. You've got your paperwork, obviously. The only thing really to show you in here is that you've got these 2 little isolator taps. So if you wanted to isolate anything from the gas, you can do that from there. The actual van itself, by the way, is a really nice high spec. Everything, you'd be amazed how thick all this wood is. It's unbelievable. Everything's really, really well put together. So it's a nice solid vehicle. I don't really have to show you all of this sort of stuff. It's just the same as any other taps. This is exactly the same as the tap in the kitchen, really. So it's just hot and cold, normal mixer tap. And obviously the shower as well, it's exactly the same. It's just kind of, I don't need to show you how to use that, because it's nice and simple. The toilet itself, I showed you it on the outside, but basically you just open it up like this. So that's open the toilet into the cassette, and then you close it back over like that. To actually use the flush, push the button down, and it'll just basically pump the flush fluid around. Open it and then close it. So it's really important that you close that off when you're finished in the toilet, because one of 2 things. If you and by the way, the reason that was so weak is because I haven't got the pump on. You've got a fresh water flush in this toilet system, so the water that comes through to there comes directly from your freshwater tank. So you need to have a little bit of water in the tank all the time if you want to use the toilet, and your pump needs to be on for that to actually pump around properly. Just so you know, just so it's not actually that weak. But anyway, you need to have the flap closed when you're not using the toilet, because you get a bad smell coming through into the van if you don't. And also, you won't be able to take the cassette out from outside if it's in the open position. It completely locks itself in. So just bear that in mind if you ever struggle to get it open. I'll just show you, these 2 are exactly the same, the skylights, but I'll just show you, you literally have got to open it. You open it up like this. That actually opens the lid up. And then you've got 1, 2 or 3. So if I just go 2 and then just choose, I'm not sure which way that is, but So that's blowing air in. I'll go off, and then go the other way. It's just started raining, so I'll close that. And that just blows the air in, out, sorry. So that's exactly, you know, it's as simple as that. You literally just choose how fast you want it to go, and then just choose which way you want it to go. So that's that. Close that up. Don't need a cooker. Loads and loads of storage in the van, by the way. Absolutely loads of storage. Underneath the van itself is nice and solid. I've actually been under there today, just, you know, finishing a few bits off, checking things over, so it's all nice and solid underneath. Other than that, there's not a huge amount else to show you. I mean, it's all just pretty straightforward stuff, just sort of working out where you know, what lights you want to have on, which ones you don't, and, you know, things like that. It's all nice and simple. This table moves all the way around depending on where you want it, so you could have it like that if you wanted to just sit there, or, you know, do whatever. But yeah, so I think that's about all I can show you. If there's anything you want us to go through again, or anything you want covering over, just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Or in fact, I think might be delivering it. So, you know, if you do get any issues with it, just let us know. We'll try our best to sort them out for you. But yeah, we'll hear from you again soon. Cheers.